Because it,
Camera. Yeah, we just if we get upside the camera, we should be fine.
we did that last time.
Thank you, Chair.
Can you guys hear me? Is this any better? I hope so. I don't know how to. Okay, I got a thumbs up, so maybe it's much better. Okay. Free agent, you can hear me now. Oh, good to go. All right. We did it.
1 second. 1 second.
I thought the phone would be easier. My crappy laptop is working now.
Not good.
All right, let's see here. Try to get this set up. All right,
Show too much.
All right, so free agent, this is pretty cool that you're up at, I don't even know what time is it where you are? It's 1:00 here, 1:16. Crazy tech gods.
Good to go. Okay. So, all right. So we're just going to jump right into it. We apologize. Thank you for hanging out with us. We want to share this 2 a.m.
2
Philly.
a.m.
Can
Philly.
you dig it? That's what it is.
We
Hey,
love
we love
Philly.
Philly. Philly is one
We
of our
love
favorite
Philly,
cities to
yes.
party in. We love Philly. So, if you're not familiar with it and what we're talking about, we found the algorithm that that kind of shows that they are sacrificing us. They are definitely sacrificing us,
I can
and it's
dig
been
it.
going on for a very, very long time. For example, let me just get into some really quick ones that kind of everyone we can remember because of age. In 1995, Oklahoma City bombing took place, and 13 years later, they received Oklahoma City Thunder in 2008. 1994, OJ, the Ron Brown, Nicole Brown Simpson.
The biggest public court proceeding in American history, OJ, Nicole Brown Simpson.
13 years later, 2007.
Keeping up with the Kardashians.
Because the Kardashians. Well, if you ask where Bruce Jenner and Kris Jenner were the night of the murders, I guarantee you're going to find out who really killed them if you just ask them to where they were. In addition to that, we found 9/11, New York City.
Got their smart city. They were the first smart city.
14 years later, 2014, very first smart city.
Yep.
The Columbine City massacre in 1999. 13 years later, 2012, Denver received the first city to have marijuana. And because we know it's a 13-year pattern, we also know what's going to happen in the future. So that means that because the 2012 killing at Sandy Hook, 13 years later after that, 2025, that hasn't happened yet. But go and pull up Sandy Hook right now on your own, and you're going to see that Sandy Hook is getting a university, a hospital, everything is being built there in Sandy Hook. You're going to also see that if you look at the Boston Marathon, we had that bombing at the Boston Marathon. You're going to look 13 years later and you're going to see in 2025, Boston gets the World Cup. So look for yourself. Don't believe us. So every time you're seeing a massacre, every time you see a Trayvon Martin, a George Floyd,
any kind of public humiliation or murders, or anything like that,
they are being rewarded for it. And they're using us and they're doing it at our expense. And by doing so, it keeps us into a continuous pattern of fighting in warfare. It's a trick.
And that also goes along with how I started this, and being as though you guys couldn't hear us earlier very well. I want to piggyback on, listen, we cannot pretend that We do not know that all of our politicians, all of our people in power were partying with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, okay? There are pictures. I'm going to show the picture again of Elon Musk, because listen, my whole thing is, listen, Elon Musk, $44 billion to buy Twitter. Yay, that's fantastic. But why are you partying with Ghislaine Maxwell? I don't want to hear she photobombed you. I don't want to hear any of that. I don't want to hear why did Vanity Fair invite her. You know the bloodsuckers that are at these parties. You know who they are. You're either participating in it or you're not saying anything.
Which is worse.
It's worse. So my whole thing is, stop saying he's a superhero. He is not a superhero until he gets to the bottom of what's going on, because that's a lot of money. I think that could pay off and get a whole bunch of children back home to their mama.
So don't tell me you're a superhero. I don't want to hear you're a superhero. You're fighting for free speech, but sex trafficking takes place. And man, shut up. You're not a superhero. You're a nerd. Please stop saying he is a hero. He is a clown. He does nothing for humanity except make a mockery out of it because we're pretending like this guy.
Yeah, you see that? That's Elon Musk. I really hope that this can focus in on that mug, but you clearly can see that it's pretty bright on my end. I don't know what you guys can see. I hope you can, but look it up yourself. Just look it up. Look it up yourself. And the other thing is, everyone is very upset about the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell was going to get up to 55 years in prison for this trial that was done in the speediest, most expeditious way.
A 2-month international trial that involved 20 different nations.
Yeah, and they got it done right before the new year started too. I might add. But let's also talk about the fact that we would also, since Elon has so much money, maybe he can help us get a leaked picture. Like, get somebody to leak a picture of the mugshot. Like, things get leaked all the time, like sex tapes and all of that kind of stuff. Why can't we find a
picture of Ghislaine Maxwell in court?
Yeah, like
not
why?
One picture.
Or a mugshot, anything,
All you have in picture of court with Ghislaine Maxwell are just
cartoons. I'm not kidding you guys. Please, if you can't see this, I apologize because I don't know how to do a lot of things right now, as you know, because my audio sucks so bad. But please look it up. Look up Ghislaine Maxwell's court. Yeah, and you will see it's nothing but cartoons, guys.
No mugshots. Just cartoons.
So we don't know where she is.
This is all.
No pictures of R. Kelly either.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Hello.
Listen, we are being lied to on a scale that we can't even get into it with y'all tonight because it's a lot. But 400 years ago, the Indian nations, the last Indian nations lost. It was their cycle. It was the end of their cycle. And we are at the end of the cycle in America right now. The cycle is about to end and they're waiting for a culminating event. And we are watching. They tricked everybody into making everyone think that the Anunnaki were the watchers. And the Anunnaki were not the watchers. The Anunnaki was very specific. The Anunnaki were the guardians of the firmament. The Anunnaki were the guardians of the firmament, and that was their role. And that's what's said specifically in what's my book? The Epic of Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh, yeah.
It's specifically the Anunnaki are the guardians of the firmament. The watchers are humanity. When we watch these things take place, we have to pay for it and we have to suffer. We cannot watch this.
You cannot
we have
watch.
to stand up.
Yeah,
and say
you have to
these
say
things
something.
Are wrong.
You have to say something. You cannot pretend. You cannot go along with it because I promise you, you will be punished. You will be punished.
It's not our rules.
Yeah, no, it's not. Has nothing to do with us.
The plane that we're on, there's a set of rules, and we have to.
There's a set of rules that they did not tell us about. Like, this is what they should have taught us in school, not what you're going to be in 10 years, which is the most ridiculous question to ask a 5-year-old.
Yeah,
like. They should have been telling you who you are. They should have been telling you who you are with your astrology. They should have been telling you who you are. They should have been telling you that all of the politics and everything is Hollywood. All of this stuff is Hollywood.
Yeah, and We're trying to get the information out just because there is an event that's a culminating event that's looking to take place.
You're talking about a Phoenix, y'all.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
And prior to that is a culminating event that's looking to take place.
Mm-hmm.
And it can only happen if humanity just sits back and watch. So because we know the algorithm, there's a couple of different algorithms involved. Because we know the algorithm of the number 13, the reason why I use the number 13 because number 13 is the number of change. So they use these particular algorithms, and the algorithms based on the region. So you can have a change in Chicago, for example, 1848. You have the Chicago received the Chamber of Commerce. They received the telegraph. They received the railroad in 1848. 13 years prior was going to be 1835. 1835 were the Chicago Trail of Tears.
Yeah.
So it's like you can see where the murder was, and you can see what the reward for it was. So the murder was done in Chicago, so they received the reward. For example, the Oklahoma City bombing, of course, because Oklahoma City took place there, then Oklahoma City received the reward. But other things you're going to find interesting are things that are national, that take national precedence. For example, when the leader of the free world gets assassinated, i.e. JFK, our president, he got assassinated in Dallas, Texas. So who gets the reward? Well, this is fantastic because it took place in Texas. Is you recording it?
Mm-hmm.
Can you dig it?
Now.
Okay, yeah. So can you dig it? So JFK was murdered in Texas in front of everybody. Doing another live, we're going to walk through it and let you know that our parents are ridiculous.
They are so ridiculous, man. And they didn't question anything.
Nothing.
And I got to tell you, they did us a true disservice.
Our parents questioned nothing.
We're going to leave it at that. But
we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
So
man.
JFK was a leader of the free world. So what happened was they murdered JFK in Dallas, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But because he's the president, he controls all of America.
I forgot to tell you one other thing about that. Do you know the name of the streets that he was murdered on?
I do not.
It was Elm Street.
Dig it. Nightmare on Elm Street. Can you dig it?
And the other scary movie is Friday the 13th. That's Freddy is Elm Street. But we got to look at Jason too.
We'll look at Jason.
Yeah, we got to look at Jason.
Right, because we know Friday is represents Mercury,
mm-hmm.
number 5.
Yeah.
Nonetheless,
we have inside dialogue. Sorry, guys. This is how we work things out.
Thank you.
But go on.
So the murder of JFK.
Okay, thank
you. If you look at the murder and assassination of JFK, that happened in
1963, I believe.
Okay. So if you look what happens
check, you go.
13 years after the assassination of the leader of the free world, you're going to find an organization was formed by the new leader of the free world. And the organization was called Apple.
Hello.
So 13 years after they killed our leader of our world,
Apple was founded.
A gentleman by the name of
Bill Gates. Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs founded Apple.
I apologize.
Because he became the leader of our new world. And a year prior.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I got confused because I forgot Bill Gates got it the year prior. And guess what day he did it on? April 1st. April Fool's Day.
So
look at that. Are they not playing games with us?
They murdered the president of America, the leader of America. And you clearly see that our country is being run by Bill Gates and Apple. They gave it to the tech companies.
Hello.
13 years afterwards. So everything that they do, they leave a receipt for. And because we now know that, we can look at Minneapolis and look at the George Floyd, and then you can look and see 13 years from that date, you're going to see Minneapolis in that particular region is going to get some type of reward. It's going to be in the planning already. The reason why you know this is the case, if you look at how the devil leaves his clues, look at Columbine. Columbine took place in 1999. The reward for Columbine was Denver was the first, and that's the whole thing. It's always being the first. In Columbine, It gave Denver the first to have legalized marijuana. Denver was given permission to have legalized marijuana in 2007, but they had to wait until 2012 because they had to wait for the 13 years. You look at Collington School in Cleveland, 1908, 172 children burned. You're also going to find with these sacrifices, the best sacrifices, of course, innocence. They love sacrificing babies. When you take some time out, you go look in Cleveland or look in Cincinnati, and you're going to see about 20 different burnings, explosions in the same place, all children over 20-year periods. You're also going to find in Ohio 3 separate train crashes in Ohio. The deaths by fire have the biggest reward. And one of the train crashes actually took place on September the 11th. So understand that they are burning us up, but the best sacrifices are innocents and babies. You're going to find the reoccurring event that these orphanages in the early 18 and the 1900s keep burning because they're sacrificing these babies. We'll go into the orphanages later because there was a particular thing called the Black orphanages that took place that no one's talking about. History seems to have forgotten about. But you're going to see that in order to have economic prosperity, you're going to find that people they're sacrificing us without our consent. And what they're doing is they're getting the people who we are calling the throwaways, the dope fiends, the junkies, the kids who got mothers who are crackheads. You understand? A good friend of mine's mothers gave him away to be sacrificed, and he died. And literally, he woke up at 5 years old, and he doesn't even know he was prior to 5 years old. So I know these things to be true. My cousin was used in a sexual ritual in Atlanta. And again, you remember, if you're 40 years old, you remember back in the 80s, the Atlanta child murder was taking place. I live in Baltimore City, and I lived in a gated community, and we weren't allowed to go outside for months at a time. Now, if we're in Baltimore, 12 hours away from the epicenter being Atlanta, why are parents in Atlanta still letting their children outside when there's someone snatching up and killing Black babies? Well, if you look 13 years after that and you look and see them niggas in Atlanta got all those goddamn mansions, you can understand why. If you look at Rwanda and look at the genocide in Rwanda and look 13 years after the genocide in Rwanda, and you'll find that Rwanda has the strongest economy and the safest country in Africa. You look at the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombing. 13 years after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan received the Automobile Agency. And the bombs in 1945, 1958, they received the Automobile Agency. And Germany received NASA in America. Well, lets you know that America did not bomb Japan. It was Germany. Germany did it. America didn't do it. Germany did it. And their gift was NASA in America. So what I'm saying is they're doing these things, but the most important thing is they need us to do it. We have to do it to ourselves. The same way, we have to do it to ourselves because you look at the epidemic with the opioid epidemics right now, and you see that the doctors prescribed all of our children so much Percocets and all these things these past 15 years, and just gave them to us. The doctor gave it to us, right? Well, in the 80s, they put crack into the Black communities and the brown communities because they needed the Black people and the brown people to do it to themselves. They could have simply let the doctors do it to them, but they need you to do it to yourself. So we are doing it to ADHD meds. Absolutely, Ivy. Yes. We're doing it to ourselves, and we can fix.
And that's
all
the thing.
of it.
And the kids are on the lean and all of that stuff because honestly, it's helping them because they have to fight down all these tremors and all of these crazy thoughts that they can't stop. The kids can't stop. So the codeine is actually trying to slow them down. And they managed to get a whole genre of music out of it, mumble.
And here's something we have for you. Here's a special treat. If you follow us, you know that we found that all underlying diseases in the world is scurvy. Everyone is vitamin C deficient, every single one. Vitamin C cures everything. Vitamin C is actually the physical incarnation of what we're calling the Christ. If you follow us. So let me give you something, a little nugget to chew on. If you know someone who has Down syndrome or what they call mental retardation, it can be cured. All of it can be cured. There's nothing that cannot be cured. Everything and every single human being and every single illness is redeemable. So let me explain to you how to cure mental retardation and Down syndrome. Unfortunately, our medical community is really in the place.
Thank you.
They are blocking
sharing.
people from being healed. So we're going to tell you what to do and how to do it. And literally, once we move the medical community out the way, we can actually start healing people. So what happens when these people have these things that we're calling mental retardation, and we're having what's the other one? Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
What we're really looking at is something called trabecular atrophy. Trabecular atrophy is best way I can explain it is it's a constricting of the blood vessels, and this particular atrophy affects the bones, the blood vessels, the brains, the eyes, everything. It affects blood circulation, and it affects the necessary proteins for development. In addition to that, it stops the development of bones and it affects the bone marrow. So the people who have children who they're calling retarded or Down syndrome, trabecular atrophy is what started the condition. So how you resolve that? First, get rid of the scurvy. You need to get the vitamin C, the chrysanthemum at high doses. I mean, I'm talking 5,000.
Yeah, because the
milligrams a
ascorbic
day.
acid,
You need that.
that's what you need in your body for your body to actually absorb the nutrition.
You need that.
So you can eat all the good stuff all you want, but your body is
you're not
not
absorbing
actually absorbing it.
You're looking
Mm-hmm.
when you see people overeat, they are overeating because they're trying to consume more vitamin C. They're actually looking for Christ, the chrysanthemum, the Christus. It's vitamin C is what we're calling. They're calling the Christ. It's actually chrysanthemum. But with a trabecular atrophy, what happens is the in the process of development, the brain and the bones and the neurons and everything just kind of stop, and children are born left deformed because of there's a stop in this process, and their birth was a stop in this process, and you have these developmental issues. Scurvy can lead to the onset to these things as well, by the way. We found numerous documented cases where children have been presented to hospitals, being diagnosed with mental retardation and even autism, and it just being scurvy. And we've also documented cases that mental retardation was brought on by the onset of scurvy. Crazy. Like literally a child is normal, and then all of a sudden the child becomes mentally retarded because of scurvy. So when you look into it, you're going to find that our community, our medical community in America is doing absolutely nothing, but there's a big community out there that's actually doing some fantastic things. So this thing, trabecular atrophy, is effective and it's affecting all of us. You're going to find that if you just get a yearbook, don't trust what I say. Get a yearbook of 1992, get a yearbook of 2002, and get a yearbook of now. Look at the children's eyes, and you're going to see the children's eyes are off. That is also a part of trabecular atrophy as well. That trabecular atrophy is atrophy, and it's a narrowing and a constricting of the blood vessels in the eyeballs that, in the eye muscles, that causes a weakening of the eye muscles that makes the eyes move and don't sit properly. Also the same thing, it's all connective. And what trabecular atrophy does is it stops the connective tissues. The connective tissues in the bone, the brain, the eyeball, the blood vessels are corrupted. And that's what starts Down syndrome and mental retardation. How do you fix these things? Something called irisin. Irisin, and
It's a protein.
it's a protein. So administering this particular protein called irisin for a month reverses it. So nobody has to be sick. The things we're sharing because we know that this is going on, this reality.
Yeah, and we're actually working on some protocols now. And once we get back our data from that, we're going to jump right back on here and let you know exactly what our
Some
findings
doses.
were.
Right. But
Yeah.
gotta get those. Your kids who are hyperactive, if you could get a vitamin C drip administered for like a week straight, just a vitamin C drip, you completely train the person. Like literally a person who is what we're calling a heroin addict, a crack addict, or a dope fiend, you put them on a vitamin C drip for a week straight, it will get rid of it. Like literally.
Yeah, instead of making people go through withdrawal
just vitamin
like
C.
that,
just vitamin C, and it will get rid of their withdrawals.
Yeah, and they really, really got to get off of methadone and Suboxone. You guys really I know that it's really, really hard, especially coming off of an addiction. I understand, but you guys really got to get off of those chemicals.
Yeah, but
you
the
really
vitamin
do.
C
And if you guys just drink lots of orange juice. Maybe the free clinic. I'm not sure if the free clinic would give you vitamins, but just ask. I would ask to see what you can get, what is there for you, because that's something else to look at. What's available for you. If you want to get a vitamin supplement, how fast can you get that? You can go to the free clinic to get all kinds of ungodly things, but let's go and see if you can go get a drip.
Yeah, a vitamin C drip.
Yeah, at your clinic, at your free clinic, and you're going to be feeling much better.
Yeah, literally the vitamin C. If just to briefly, if you look at the molecular makeup of vitamin C, pull up for yourself, and you're going to see that it reads HO all around the vitamin C, because vitamin C is a gift from God. It's ho ho ho. It's Santa Claus. It's a gift. If you look at the vitamin C, ask why it's called vitamin C. Vitamin C is actually absorbic acid, because you need absorbic acid to be able to absorb all your food. But there's a particular chemical inside of vitamin C called chrysanthemum. It's chrysanthemum inside of absorbic acid what makes vitamin C so important. It's the chrysanthemum. It's the Christos. It's the gift. It's ho ho ho. It's the physical incarnation. It's God. You can't have too much vitamin C. Just like God, you can't have too much God in your heart. And if you have too much vitamin C, you just piss it right out.
And that's another thing. So if you guys have an issue with too much sugar, with too much orange juice, you can just go get some Mums. And you can even go, if you're in the States, you can go to the Asian market, and they actually already have them already dried.
If you can get some chrysanthemum
tea, and you can make some tea at home.
Chrysanthemum tea is the best thing in the world. If you can drink gallons of chrysanthemum
because we even bought flowers. We even bought Mums ourselves and dried them in the oven and then made our tea here.
If you get chrysanthemum tea, it heals everything. Chrysanthemum tea is literally the physical incarnation of what they're calling the
And
Christ.
Make sure when you steep it, you keep a lid on top so all of the oils and everything go back into the pot too.
But if you can get the tea, that is the best. Chrysanthemum tea heals all. Chrysanthemum tea and eating less is going to be the best thing for it. If you fast and drink chrysanthemum tea, I'm gonna tell you something, your cancers, your everything is over. But understand that once this system finishes breaking all the way, we get to heal people. And I mean, just cure, not treat, we get to heal people. And also by giving information out and by putting in the ether, we also get to stop it and kind of mess up their plans, which we get a big kick out of. And we've been talking a lot about this thing called Karens. And what's hilarious is we get to call white women Karens, and we looking at it, and I'm a black dude. So I've been here on this plane for more than 40 years. So I know how this whole racism thing goes. So let me go ahead and fuck up that game real quick with this whole Karen thing. So if you're a black person, do not go along with this whole thing, with this whole Karen thing, because all it is another form of subjugation. if you have a situation where we're only calling white women Karens, then we're discriminating against them. That should be very obvious. But if it's not very obvious, let me make it very obvious. If we're only calling white women Karens, then we're discriminating against white women, which isn't cool. And they play this trick. The trick that's being played is simple. White women sat by and watched Black people, in particular Black men, get subjugated. So now when they're getting subjugated, we're now sitting by laughing at them.
Yeah, we're
them
jumping
Karen.
to the opportunity.
Right. And understand that the issue is simple. Subjugation is wrong. They shouldn't have watched us get subjugated.
Mm-hmm.
But we've learned nothing if we jump on board and start subjugating them. So we cannot allow that narrative to take place where they start getting subjugated as well. So, and you also think about this as well. How many people's name is actually Karen? Like,
who came up with that? Who thought that was funny?
Right, think about it. So
because
it's not
honestly,
it's
Becky,
not. It's
Becky is
Becky's
funny.
Megan
Megan is hilarious.
Funny. Those are legitimate, funny white girl
names. But Karen,
names.
that's not funny.
It's not funny.
That's
it's
not
for
even
a reason.
It's not even clever.
Exactly. It's like these unimaginative things, like social distance. It's an institutional things that we gonna scrap now.
Yes.
So let's get into the whole Karen
and that's how they got y'all with the Black Lives Matter. And I apologize to my 5 viewers that are watching us right now. Yes, and I gotta tell y'all, that's what I'm talking about. 5. I don't know how late it is for y'all, but we appreciate y'all hanging out with us. All right. But
5.
Yeah, we got 5. We got 5 on
I got 5
That's all the elements. So yeah, so no, this is perfect.
So first off, social distancing is something we're able to say. Everybody's saying it. Well, we understand that these things are institutional words.
Mm-hmm.
Columbus Day, no one celebrates Columbus Day. Everyone acknowledges that Columbus did not celebrate America. It's institutions celebrated. April Fool's Day, another institutional holiday no one acknowledges. So understand these institutional days are inherently evil and wicked things.
Mm-hmm.
So the person that came with the word Karen, understand that these institutional things, they're demonic and they stupid, but they do have a reason. Even unimaginative and stupid, they do have a reason. So the reason why they keep talking about this Karen, they want to call people Karens, is first off, if you're watching everything, you know the big switch is taking place where they're switching things over and they're putting Black people on top. So Black people, if you've been waiting for it, it's here. We're about to start being on top, running things, and you know.
And then they go on Tulsa.
No, not
Oklahoma.
Worse. No, worse than that. Worse than that. So understand this. Do not sit by and watch.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't sit by and watch
anything inhumane,
and do not watch any subjugation
don't do it.
At white people just because they watched it happen to us because it's a trick. This little thing they switching, y'all see Beyonce and Jay-Z and all these people doing all this pro-Black shit. Yeah, Black people about to get real rich. So you see Kanye, all these people talking shit. Yes, Black people about to come up. Here's a caveat. That shit's only gonna last for 10 years. So, yep. Yeah, we about to be on so-called top again. It's a fucking trap.
Yeah, y'all gonna get reparations too. Reparations. Oh, I said reparations is what they called it in Watchmen, the series. So it's hilarious.
So check it out.
Y'all gonna get everything y'all ever wanted.
Let me hit you with the highlight. So check it out. They're about to do something diabolical. I have the date for it, but I need some protection before I divulge that. Understand. They're about to do something diabolical. Right now, they're doing a little switch. And right now, they're allowing things to see. And that's why you got the Black person on the Supreme Court. You got all these things taking forefront.
James Bond.
Oh my God. Don't even talk about that. But James Bond, y'all see they killed James Bond off. So understand that this thing is breaking. And they're putting Black people up, and you got all these people all of a sudden becoming brave and standing up. And you see the videos, they are all these dark-skinned people in videos. Understand this is a trick. They are setting us up for a big catastrophe. They're going to wipe all of us out. They're not going to, because I'm going to fuck it up. But that's the whole plan. This little black thing they go along with, do not go along with. Stay with fairness, trust God. All of it's a lie. Just trust God and stay with fairness. Do not go along with any type of narrative that has anything to do with race, because we've all been lied to in a way that is unimaginable. But this whole thing they got set off, they're setting things up right now in America to, of course, get Trump in office, because it's going to culminate into a big race war and a big explosion. This thing with the Karen. So in the year, baby, do you know the year of what year was it? So here's how it goes. We can't allow anyone to subjugate the white woman, because as annoying as the white woman may be at times, the white woman, let me put this, do not allow the white woman to be subjugated, in particular, the white American woman. If you are a black man, if you are a black woman, or you call yourself a black man or black woman, do not allow anyone to subjugate the white woman, because she is your best friend. Y'all can cuss me out, doesn't matter. I can't hear you from over here, and I'm high. So
you're gonna have to put it in the chat.
So you want to cuss me out? By all means, cuss me out. Do not allow the subjugation of the white woman, in particular the white American woman. Because do not, under no circumstances.
You need her.
You need her. You need her.
All the pieces on the chest.
So you understand that, let me show you how this thing works. Remember, they used to do the minstrel shows back in the day, where they used to be in blackface. And you say, why they put these guys in blackface? Well, the reason why they put these people in blackface is to laugh at them and make fun of them. When you make fun of them, people are much easier to subjugate when you make fun of them. Case in point, if you watch Borat, he makes fun of people from Kazakhstan all the time. Now, if you ask anyone about a person from Kazakhstan, you ask an average person about anything about a person from Kazakhstan, they're going to be like, we don't know anything about Kazakhstan. Only thing you know about Kazakhstan is the impression that was given to you by this character that we know by the name of Borat. And by the impression that he's given, it would lead you to believe that these people are filthy people who have sex with goats and have sex with their sisters. You understand? So who gives a shit, right? Well, because you're able to make fun of these people and subjugate these people, China was able to imprison 1 million of these people in 1 week and put them in prison and inject them with vaccines and do experiments.
Take their organs, sew them back up, and have them still doing the workshops, the sweatshops that they have.
This
over
is
there.
taking place right now. Right now.
Real slavery, y'all.
Right now.
Real slavery.
And if you ask about them, the Chinese don't call them Kazakhstanians. The Chinese call them Uyghurs. They call them Uyghurs. And it's like, man, that sounds a whole lot like some shit they've been calling me for a long time, you know? So because you're able to make fun of these people that are easy to subjugate, case in point, I can promise you, I've been telling everybody for 4 years before this thing shut down, hey, it'll shut down, it's not going to open back up, and we got to leave America, especially if you are of high melanin content or you're brown. And I apologize for telling anybody doing any such thing, because you can't run nowhere. There's nowhere to run. And I don't care how much money you got. I'm telling you from a person who has resources that you can't run or go nowhere in the world, because the people that you like and you call your entertainers that you look up to have fucked you up in a way that you can't even imagine. So let me tell you what your existence is as a Black American. And I don't want you to think that, oh, you're only talking about Black America. I understand that I'm talking about Black America, but what you're going to find out is we're connected. White America and Black America, we are Americans, whether you know it right now. Exactly. I'm going to tell you, I swear to God, we are connected.
Listen, look at the chessboard, okay? You need every piece on that board in order to be able to move forward. Yep. And there's a light side and there's a dark side. Black and white people are the only people that are recognized by a color.
Only
Okay,
one. Only black Americans.
understand that.
Only black and white Americans.
Right.
The rest of the world,
Right.
white people are Irish or Italian.
Where
black
you're from.
people are black people.
Americans are not
Nigerian,
Americans. It's white people and black people.
Or Somalian. It's a trick. It's a trick.
It's a trick.
But understand this. Okay, so let me tell you, if you are black and you want to go and try to get out of America because it's over and it's about to burn, you're right. But let me let you know, you need to get out of there soon, and your money ain't gonna buy you nothing. Because let me tell you what your entertainers, i.e. Kevin Hart's, i.e. Wayne and Brothers, i.e. Flavor Flav, Jay-Z's, what they've done to us. And I am an example of it. Your entertainers have screamed to the entire world, here's what's going on if you try to leave America. And I swear to God, and this is traveling too much, more than you should be traveling. We don't want to travel this much. Here's what's happened to you if you are brown or black. Just imagine you're 14 years old, going to a new high school. But a month before you go to your high school, your cousin tells everybody in your high school that you got AIDS and you have herpes. So then you get there and everybody there thinks you have AIDS and you got herpes. And then you say, what's going on? And then you go and say to your cousin, hey, did you tell them that I have AIDS and herpes? And he says, oh yeah, I was just joking.
Right.
You understand? So Kevin Hart, the Wayne and Brothers, all these people has made a buffoon out of you where your money is worthless. Your money is worthless. Worthless. I swear to God, your money is worthless.
Yeah, because they don't act like that. They don't act like that.
These people believe you do not understand. If you're not leaving, if you're not traveling the world and going into communities, you do not understand that these people believe that we are these characters 100%. I need you to understand that. If y'all think Denzel Washington and you like him, you say, well, he's great. He always has great characters and he represents a great black man. You want to have your children implement the character that he's playing. I need you to understand that in Bangladesh, they don't speak English. So the voice they have for Denzel Washington ain't no smooth brother talking about, I'm not going to do that. I'm a man. Mm-hmm. They have somebody sounding like Flavor Flav and a clown. If you're not traveling this world and going to the communities, you understand that even if you're rich, you can't even buy your way out of this shit that we're into right now. So not only do they put us in a fucked up place where y'all are stuck in America because it's burning, literally, but they've made it. If you try to leave, you can't even buy your way out.
Nope.
And because white people allowed the subjugation of black people, the same thing to white people. White people traveling around the world now, they're not letting white Americans in there. White Americans, even as a black American, we've been able to travel the whole world freely and getting the perks of being Americans for the past 10 years. Now, not at all, but not just black Americans, now white Americans. Now when white Americans go places, they're being treated like shit. And everywhere they go, black Americans are welcome, but white Americans aren't welcome because they think that you're a spy.
Listen,
or you're trying to steal their land.
Best so food they got review show ever.
They got my God. Both of us. Please. We need each other. And let me tell you something. White people who think y'all don't like black people, leave the country and go and just leave the country. No. Y'all gonna see a black American, and you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna hug them.
Wait, no, listen. Do this. Just do this for me. Watch best food review show ever.
Yes,
and Egypt. Look at the Egypt.
Best look up. Yes, please.
Watch
look at best.
That.
He
did like literally 3 episodes on the same material to break down how he was treated.
Yes, look at Egypt. He did a show in Egypt and understand that we get treated like dirt. And as a black man, Jesus Christ, y'all have no
and
idea.
it's happening to the white
It's
man
happening to the
now.
white man too.
And I
So
gotta
it's
tell
like,
you, be worried.
listen.
Be worried.
So what I'm saying is, black and white people in America gotta stop fighting. We need each other. And listen, I swear to God, we were in Malaysia at the place.
Which part? I mean, I don't know.
When was the treatment?
Malaysia?
We went to Malaysia, and we met this white guy from Wyoming, and he was there.
God, I forgot about this.
He hadn't seen an American in a couple of weeks because he got this. He was his old job, and they took him to Malaysia, and we saw him there. We were there for some medical treatment, and we started talking, and he was like, "Man, I haven't seen an American in so long." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "You ain't seen an American in me in a long time." He was like, "Yeah, but it's an American." I said, "Man, you want a hug?" And he was like, yeah, he was like, "Sure, I want a hug." It's white guy. He was like a cowboy. And then we were just joking. So we got up, we were at dinner, and we got up and gave each other a fake hug. And then it was like, man, this feels good.
Listen, you from where you from.
Listen, y'all have no idea. We are Americans. And I know that we are
Exactly.
fighting, but we are Americans. Ain't nobody like us.
No.
We got to figure this shit out because they about to lay waste to America because it's, first off, America is over and that frequency is done. It's a 400-year cycle. It is done. It was last time the second, and it was in 1622. Look at 1622. What happened to the natives?
Listen, this is what I want to say. I want to say this. Please, white America, please listen to me. I see what's happening to you.
Yes.
Listen to me. We cannot allow this to happen to you. Let me tell you why. Because even though things are still been terrible for us as black people, y'all
still got a
are
voice.
saving grace.
You still got a voice.
Y'all
and
are
white
saving
women
grace. So when we went out the country, we get to say, "Hey, we Americans," because American mean white America. So listen to me. We cannot let this happen.
Especially white women, y'all, white American women, y'all. We need to start calling. Listen, let's do this. Start using the N word. They call black people niggas and white women naggers. Niggas and naggers. We need each other. Please do not let them call white women Karens.
Don't do it.
Because what happens is when you start subjugating a person, then it allows terrible things to start happening to them.
And you cannot, listen to me, you cannot do this to white America.
You can't, especially white women. Because here's the thing. When you start subjugating people, terrible things start allowed to be happen to them. For example, you saw that they do nothing but subjugate black men on TV all the time. And then you see police do the most terrible things to them because of subjugation, because somehow they deserved it. Well, they're doing the same thing to white women. When they're doing it, they're taking her voice. They're taking our voice away. So
and then some of these Karen videos too are like,
but
some of them are like,
it's ridiculous. Pull up who Karen is.
Oh,
so understand that it's not just for fun. But here's the thing: you cannot have a situation, and white women, especially, and women in general, y'all need to find out what's going on in South America and find out what's going on in India. Understand that the amount of rapes that are taking place in the world right now,
it's daily. It's
the rapes that are taking place right now,
hourly, probably minutes.
But the rapes are taking. You understand? If this thing collapses, y'all got no protection. Women have no protection if this thing collapses.
Yeah, because it's savages out here.
You know that, but it's worse than you can imagine. But in particular, white women, when you're able to start subjugating people, you're able to start physically taking them. And the last thing you want is for people to start taking you. And what I'm saying is, it's a setup for something more. It starts off as just caring and it's something funny, ha ha ha, but it gets worse. So if you are black and you see these things and you know this is taking place, we cannot go along with it because we have learned nothing from the lesson from having it take place to us. We had to listen to the lessons of little Hiawatha. I apologize. Hiawatha, great Hiawatha, the greatest of Hiawatha. Hiawatha was a great warrior who lost everything. He lost his 3 daughters to illness that couldn't be cured. he suffered and had to watch all of his 3 children suffer. In addition to that, his wife was stolen. So this was during a time of great turmoil. 5 great nations and 5 great Indian nations in the Americas were at war that had taken place for a couple of decades. And throughout this turmoil, Hiawatha lost his wife. I'm sorry, his wife was stolen, and he never ever found her. Someone raided their village and took his wife. And his children died because of the infiltrators who came and poisoned their community with the smallpox. And Hiawatha was a great warrior, probably the greatest warriors during his time. And instead of laying waste to the communities that killed and may have taken his wife, he realized that he was hurt and he was in unimaginable pain. And it dawned on him that because of the war that was taking place, that the people that he had killed were experiencing the same pain that he was experiencing. So he made a decision to not go and murder more people, but he made a decision to try to unite the great nations, the great Indian nations. And because of that, he introduced something called the Great Treaty of Peace. So here's a man who was a warrior, and he managed to unite the 5 great Indian nations with something called the Great Treaty of Peace. And all of the Indian nations, all 5 of them, all united under one banner of peace, because they realized that if they stopped fighting, that they were safer and had more protection under peace than they were fighting. Because Hiawatha understood that the pain that he suffered was unimaginable, but he also understood that the pain had to stop at some point. And he chose to let it stop at him instead of continuing the cycle. So if we're laughing at white women who are getting roughed up by the police, because remember, the police were the problem. The police were the problem when they was fucking us up, and they're still the problem when they fucking up white women. Let's not lose focus of what was taking place. So do not allow that. Do not allow this whole Karen narrative. So let me tell you who Karen was, if you want to know why they chose this name Karen.
All right. So also what happened 13 years after Kennedy was assassinated, a young lady, Karen Ann Quillen, was an American woman who became an important figure in history of the right to die controversy in the United States. So to get into this really quickly, Karen. You can look her up.
Karen was in a vegetative state, and her parents said this is she was being held alive by ventilators and machines.
See if the name can pop up. Okay, there we go. That's her name.
So this was a right to life case. It's 13 years after the Kennedy assassination. Karen's parents said that she should not be held alive by ventilators and machines, because we believe in God, and our Creator says that she goes on God's time and not this system's time.
Right.
But of course, the institutions, they're smarter than everybody. They're smarter than me, you, God, Garfield the cat, right? So they fought, and they went to the Supreme Court, and it was decided that, okay, we're going to let the parents make a decision. So it was the court decided they were going to let the parents make a decision. And the breathing devices and the tube were removed from Karen. And the doctors all said as soon as it was removed that she would die instantly, at which time she died 9 years later. She lived 9 more years. So 1 for God, 1 for the Creator, 1 for the higher power, 0 for the people who know nothing, the system. So I'm simply saying this. This was a big deal. This was an epic case. It was a case where the doctors made a political choice to say that their decisions So to usurp the decisions and the wishes of the parents
And God.
and God. But if you don't believe in God, the parents are there, so you know there's a God, because those are the two gods that birthed that God. So the doctors and the institution says that no, we get to decide when you should die. We get to decide.
Are we back on? Can you guys
Yes,
still hear us?
we're still back on.
Okay.
We get to decide. Will they pull that tube off and she lived? Because they don't know shit. Can you dig it? That was the eloquent way to say it. You know, like, sometimes I like to be a little job cool, I would say, but they know nothing. They know nothing. And as soon as they get out the way, everything is resolvable and healable. Look at trabecular atrophy. Also, if you know a person who has Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, you want to look at something called tribothia. Tribothia is invisible hairs on a spider. Vitruvian, man, Vitruvian. Who would have thought, man? So look up tribothia, and you're going to find out that that's Parkinson. That thing that people are doing with their hands and they're shaking. It's a invisible hair on a spider. But for people who have Down syndrome, mental retardation, I promise you, if the doctors get out of the way, if they get out of the way, no one has to be sick anymore. And is there anything else we want to discuss? If y'all have any questions, we'll be happy to answer a couple questions. But we just want to put the information out just to put out in the ether, and hopefully the frequency hits you. And
Oh, and the selfies.
yes, got one for you. Oh my God, you're gonna love this one.
Selfies, y'all.
Yes. Okay. So, woo. All right. So memories are weird, and we're remembering things differently. For example, there's a glitch in my memory. My memory distinctly remembers the governor of Texas being killed the same day as Kennedy during the Kennedy assassination. And I made a joke one day about, can you imagine being the child of the governor, because they keep talking about Kennedy as if the governor didn't die. And they were like, the governor didn't die. And I'm like, yes, he did. So my glitch, I know for a fact he died. That's my glitches. So how are, oh man, give me a second. Okay. So other